Alright, so we're going to be doing a couple things to the Tacoma. One is Lug Nuts, but another one is I went to Toyota online and ordered some parts from my local Toyota dealership. These are just some TRD goodies that I've wanted for a while. The oil cap, which I actually already have in my truck, but I ruined the markings on it one time where I was cleaning my engine bay with some degreaser and some pressure washer. It kind of like wore it out. You can still see it, but it's faded. So I wanted a new one. I wanted the TRD radiator cap. I actually have a Spoon Sports Honda one in my truck right now. It's been in there for years. My friend Mo gave it to me. It was from his Accord build back in the day. Genuine Spoon Sports, but yeah, in a Toyota. And then I got a TRD shift knob. So let's go ahead and unbox these goodies. TRD radiator cap, 1.3 kilograms per centimeter squared. This is actually made in Japan. Pretty cool. We've got the TRD shift knob. Let's bust that open. Now I have a sneaking suspicion this one actually doesn't fit my truck. It may be intended for the automatic stocks, which are an M8 by 1.25 thread, I want to say, and I think the Tacoma is a M12 thread. But I'm gonna find out the hard way right now. Either way, doesn't necessarily have the vibe I'm looking for my interior. I just wanted this piece because it's a TRD piece and it's a nice one with a little fake carbon fiber center. It's funny they advertise it as carbon fiber, but it is not. It's just a print. And then finally, we have the TRD oil cap, which, by the way, made in Taiwan. Not exciting, but okay. Logo comes separate. And here's the cap. It's a lot shinier than the last one I had. Gotta love the real JDM instructions that come with this oil cap. It's pretty cool, but and assuming some of this is also fitment, but you basically just thread this on. Nothing fancy. Very nice stuff. Just gonna go ahead and install this stuff on the truck. Alright, so let's go ahead and try threading this on. Hilariously, even if this is the wrong thread, if the bore is large enough, it'll probably fit anyway because the threads are plastic, so the metal will cut new threads. Nice. That fit in pretty well. Not sure that it really matches the look I'm going for, so I'll probably be trading between that one and this other TRD knob, which I've reupholstered. So interesting detail here, the shift knob actually came with some JDM instructions similar to the oil cap, but also these little decals of the shift patterns. I don't have a center console, unfortunately, to put these on, or one of them rather, but I'm actually going to be doing a video where I make a center console, so stay tuned. That's going to be a little detail I'm dropping on mine. Let's go ahead and do the oil cap. Never mind how crappy my valve cover looks, I got a couple in the works. I'll be doing a video on how to paint a valve cover soon, so don't worry about that. I want to keep this nice and shiny. Nice. Let me go ahead and put the logo on. I don't have much nails right now to be peeling this stuff. That's that. Let's do the radiator cap. Hope this fits, it might not. Looks very different, so I have a sneaking suspicion this will not fit. And it does not fit. Unfortunately, this will not work for me. What a shame. Oh well. Still a very nice piece. I'll probably just rock it in my office or something. Or find a radiator that it fits. Like, I don't know what the heck. So it turns out the reason this radiator cap did not fit is because it's a Type N oil cap, which is for Toyotas past a certain year, and my truck being older, I would have needed a Type S cap. Unfortunately, the Type S cap is discontinued, impossible to find on the internet thus far, and they actually had a 1.5 kilogram per centimeter squared version, which even had more pressure, right? If any of you has, lead on how I can get my hands on one of those, please feel free to leave that in the comment section. I would love to get one, but this one is not going to work for me. Alright, so today this is going to be a really simple video, just going to be showing you new lug nuts I'm doing on my truck. I've wanted to change out the blue ones I had because they're all scratched up and the blue is kind of peeling off. So I got these Muteki SR48. I've had Mutekis before, the blue ones actually are Muteki, but that finish is just, it doesn't matter who makes it, it's notorious for peeling off. So these I like a lot because they are like a black oxide finish. It's the same kind of finish as what you get on like the impact tools. So it's very tough. I've seen reviews, people say that it lasts a long time and it hasn't given them any issues. I've seen Muteki's getting a little fancier. They've got a little laser etched logo on there now. They do the same thing to the little tool. So I'm kind of excited to put these on. Basically, I'm just going to take off my old ones one by one and replace them with these. And I'm going to be torquing them to 80 foot-pounds. You should always torque your lug nuts per the manufacturer's recommendations for your particular car, right? That's actually why I bought the big torque wrench I have, because my Camaro requires you to torque those lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds, and I didn't have a torque wrench that went beyond 80. So now I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys that process. Really simple stuff, probably one of the easier, but kind of satisfying mods you can do on a car. It changes up the look, changes up the vibe a little bit. Just gives a little pop to your wheels, like a little bling. It's like getting fancy shoelaces for your shoes. So not the end of the world, not the highest performance. I know that there are lug nuts you can get made out of like titanium and all these fancy materials, and if you want to spend $700+ on a set of lug nuts, I mean, be my guest, it's your money. Feel free to incinerate it as you wish, but for the negligible, and I mean absolutely negligible performance that you're going to see, whatever little tiny gram of weight that you save by doing that, it's not worth the money. It'll never be worth the money. If you really insist, get aluminum lug nuts, and FYI, aluminum on a steel lug stud or titanium on the stud, it's going to seize over time, right? You're going to have corrosion between the dissimilar metals, so you should always use anti-seize, and then when you use anti-seize, your torque values may not be the most accurate. So if you're tracking, it's probably an issue. If you just drive on the street, who cares? Just tighten them nice and tight and send it. Real talk. But I personally don't run aluminum or titanium. I don't recommend that you do either. Steel lug nuts are light enough. They're fine enough. They get the job done. So that's what I'm going to use. Always have used and have no issues. Have never had any issues with. I do put a small amount of either a grease or an anti-seize on there just to, keep them from seizing up. I don't do it on the Camaro because the Camaro isn't actually going to see track time, but the truck sees street and autocross at most. So it's completely fine to just slap them on with a little anti-seize. Make sure they're nice and tight. I torque them to 80 foot-pounds. Your mileage may vary. It depends on your car. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so here are my extremely dirty Enki RPF ones. And as you can see, blue kind of faded lug nuts. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo these real quick. First things first, I'll use a breaker bar. I don't have the right battery for my impact yet, so it doesn't have the most power. At least not as much power as it should have. Alright, so I'll loosen these. I won't fully remove them all one by one because I'm not going to be lifting the wheel off the ground. Alright, I'll just now go ahead and take my impact. Make sure it's seated securely. Pull it out. Okay, get that one off. Go ahead and put a new one. Before you start just hitting with the impact, make sure you get a few threads engaged by hand first. Alright, then go ahead, again, make sure that this aligns well. And then thread it down. And we'll go in a star pattern. And we'll keep doing that so we keep the same tension on the wheel. If you just start beating on this with the impact without first having threaded a few threads, you run the likelihood of stripping the threads on either the lug nut or the stud. In my case, I've found that these forged extended studs I have from ARP are actually very, very strong, so they'll actually just be fine, but they will jack up the lug nut, which is better. Obviously, much easier to replace a lug nut than a stud. But I'd rather not replace either, if at all possible. And I'm definitely going to have to clean these wheels up afterward. Man, they look terrible. Let's always make sure we're seated. Now one last one. I already have anti-seize on all these lugs, so that's why you don't see me applying anymore. It's always good to do for a street car. It just helps take off the lug nuts later, keeps them from rusting in place ever. Alright, now that's all bolted on. Got my torque wrench here. I'm just going to go ahead and torque each and every one of those down to 80 foot-pounds. And then we'll call it a day. Really? And that's that. So there you have the finished product with the black lug nuts. As you can see, my wheels are curved, they're quite dirty. I have to clean them and go ahead and paint the damaged sections and restore them. That's definitely going to happen in a future video. Now, you may, those of you who are keen-eyed and are familiar with Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, notice that there's an extra groove that's not supposed to be there near the edge of the sidewall. That actually happened when I was transporting my new lawn tractor. Because that rear fender is not rolled and there's some bolts there, I ended up having to stop by my in-laws house, remove those bolts with a borrowed wrench, and then I kind of rolled the fenders a little bit with a pipe. But I'm definitely going to take some time and run my fender roller through there and get a proper roll going with that. A lot of people say you can't roll that part because it's like a double sheet metal or whatever, but we'll see about that. I'll mess with it. I have a sneaking suspicion that won't be the case because after all, it rolled with the pipe. Why would it not roll with the roller? I think it can be done, so I'm going to try it. Front fenders are about as rolled as they can get. As you can see, they're rolled and pulled, so they actually look wider than the stock, and unfortunately that did mess up the fitment around the door. So as of right now, I decided that the TRD shift knob just isn't going to suit the style of my truck, and the radiator cap, as you know from watching the rest of the video, just doesn't fit. So I'm planning to do a giveaway for both of these items, so stay tuned for that. I'll be announcing that in a future video. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, want to see more like it, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I post up another video. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave that in the comments section. And as always, thank you guys for watching.